This season I'm going to a game in every round of the FA Cup, starting with the extra preliminary round and following the winning teams along the same path until I reach the Wembley final in May. My journey started at my local side Hucknall Town and has taken me to 7 different grounds across the qualifying campaign and first 5 rounds. During that time I witnessed Bottisford Town's run into the second qualifying round for the first time in their history, then briefly followed Bromsgrove Sporting and Chelmsford City, before the qualifying campaign ended at Barnet's Hive Stadium. In the competition proper, I witnessed Exeter City's best run for 44 years, as they made it to the 4th round for the first time since 1981, where they were knocked out after taking Premier League Nottingham Forest all the way to a penalty shootout. In the last round, Forest needed another penalty shootout to overcome Ipswich Town at the City Ground to book their place in the quarter-finals and set up another long journey down south. So after the 6-mile trip to the City Ground lured me into a false sense of security, I made the 200-mile journey down south to the American Express Stadium, home of Brighton Hove Albion. After making 4 consecutive trips down to Exeter, I should have been used to these long journeys, but delays on the M25 meant the expected 4-hour journey took closer to 6, so it was a good job we travelled down the night before. Nottingham Forest are having an incredible season. They're sitting in 3rd place in the Premier League with a bit of a gap opening up between them and the rest of the teams challenging for the Champions League places. If you went back a year and told a Forest fan that they'd be ahead of Man City and Chelsea in the league and still in the FA Cup at the end of March, would they have believed you? Probably not. This is a fantastic turnaround for Nuno Santo. Brighton are having a decent season themselves though, and due to the top half of the table being so close, they're also in with a chance of qualifying for the Champions League. They're in 7th place and 7 points behind Forest in the league, so this one should be an interesting game. Forest demolished Brighton the last time these teams met, thrashing them 7-0 at the City Ground, but Fabian Hürzeler has turned things around since then, and they've won 6 out of their 7 games since. The 2 teams drew 2-2 in the league here back in September, so if performances in the league are anything to go by, Forest would have to go into this one as favourites, though I could sense that Brighton would be after revenge. As a Hereford fan, I have a bit of history with Brighton, though their posh new Amex Stadium was a new one for me. I was there back in 1997 when Robbie Reynolds scored probably the most important goal in Brighton's history, the equaliser at Edgar Street that kept them in the Football League and sent my Hereford United down. But just look at them now, this is a lovely stadium. Brighton's former stadium, or American Express Stadium as it's known, opened back in 2011, with the club newly promoted to the Championship, and this club have been on the way up since. It was a lovely day on the south coast on Saturday, so after some lunch and a bit of a walk around the town centre, we went down to the train station. It's a short train ride to the Amex from Brighton Station, and I'd been advised to travel early by one of my friends, which was really good advice. I got to the ground just under 3 hours before kick-off and the station was already starting to get busy. I can imagine how ramped those trains are as you approach the kick-off. I like getting to football grounds early so I can soak up the atmosphere and get some food without having to queue or rush around, but the place was already buzzing when I arrived. They've opened up a new fan zone outside the stadium this week, so this was their first time using it, and everything was friendly and well organised. There was nobody checking tickets or excluding away fans, everyone was welcome, and it was a great vibe. With the main club shop under development, there's a temporary one on site, and to say it's only temporary, it's still huge. And it took me roughly 5 minutes to find a Hereford reference, which was in this Brighton history book, which I just had to have, as well as this scarf. I never thought I'd ever see myself buying Brighton merchandise. The club shop is filled with friendly and really helpful staff. In fact, Brighton Hove Albion seems like an incredibly organised club. Even with the stadium and surrounding areas busy, I hardly had to queue for food or toilets. The staff just manage everything so well. So after checking out the club shop, I had a walk around the ground to the away end to find my seat. I got inside the stadium about an hour before kick-off, and look how good this view is. I was only 3 rows back from the pitch. Close enough for the sprinklers to give me a shower. This is such a nice stadium, but it should be. It cost the club nearly £100 million. I fancied a bit of a snack, so I got myself a piglet sausage roll, which was huge, and definitely more like a meal than a snack. And for £6, I couldn't really complain at all. As the stadium started to fill, you could tell the Forest fans were feeling confident. They were lively, and a really positive atmosphere was beginning to build while the two teams were warming up. Forest were missing top scorer Chris Wood, who'd been injured on international duty, but otherwise they had a near full strength squad to choose from, while Brighton had a few doubts, but no major concerns, so it looked like we were going to see both teams going for it, with a semi-final at Wembley Stadium up for grabs. The two teams came out to a bit of a firework display, and I think the Forest fans enjoyed that. Listen to that noise as we approach the kick-off. The Forest fans taunted Brighton throughout, constantly reminding them of the recent thrashing at the City Ground. And there's Rooney. You can see Lineker and Walcott there too with the famous old trophy. Could one of these teams be lifting it this season? In the first half, Nottingham Forest were by far the better team, though it was Brighton who came closest to scoring with a couple of efforts from outside the area, but it was 0-0 at half-time. And Nottingham Forest take Mull of Kintyre everywhere, don't they? The second half was more of the same. There weren't that many chances and Forest again probably edged it. And midway through the second half, Nottingham Forest were awarded a penalty for this foul on Elliot Anderson by Kaoru Mitoma. Or were they? After a relatively short check, VAR overturned the referee's decision, so no penalty for Forest. Did VAR get that right, or should that have been a penalty? I'm not so sure. It looked pretty soft to me, but have a look for yourself. So, with no more major second half drama, we go to extra time for the third successive round. The final score: Brighton 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Brighton seemed to wake up in extra time, but still no goals in that first half. Surely I wasn't going to have to sit through penalties once again. In the second half of extra time, Brighton seemed to really step it up a gear and had by far the better chances. What a save this is from Sells. And what a huge part he's played in Forest's success this season. He's easily been one of the best goalkeepers in the country. But with just a couple of minutes remaining in extra time, Brighton thought they'd won it. But this time, it's Forest who are saved by VAR. So, for the third consecutive round, we go to penalties. Final score after extra time: Brighton 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Nottingham Forest are just so good from the penalty spot, and after scoring all 9 in their previous shootouts, they would have to be confident. Though the mood around me seemed to be that their luck was about to run out. Could they do it again though? So Nottingham Forest do it again, and it was local lad Ryan Yates who scored the winning penalty, then ran the whole length of the pitch to celebrate with the Forest fans. Look how close I was to the celebrations, which carried on for ages after the game. Saturday's attendance was 29,930, which is marginally the highest of the journey so far, and once again I have to give man of the match to Forest keeper Matt Sells. How important has he been for them this season, especially in the FA Cup? So it's Nottingham Forest who make it to their first FA Cup semi-final since 1991, but who would they be playing at Wembley Stadium? The draw was made ahead of the last quarter-final.
Number 4.
And first out are Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup semi-finals for the 13th time.
They are going to be playing against number 3.
Nottingham Forest will get the winners of Bournemouth or Manchester City.
And Manchester City won 2-1 at Bournemouth, so it'll be Nottingham Forest against Manchester City at Wembley next month. And how close am I to finishing this journey now? Make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you were at the MX this weekend. And why not check out how Forest got past Ipswich Town in the last round. Thanks for watching.